the channel. Welcome back to a new video, the last video of the year. So since it's the end of the year, the last video of the year, and I won't see y'all again until next year, I'm going to do my top 10 reads for 2024. This was kind of difficult, a little bit. So what I did was I went onto my Storygraph. Shout out to Storygraph. I use it for everything. Y'all know that. I went on the Storygraph and I wrote down all of my 5-star reads for the year. And what's shocking, it was like a little over 30, so more than half of the books I read this year were 5 stars, which is not bad. Either they were really that good, or I just need to do better with like actually rating books how they should be. Anyway, so that's what I did. I wrote it down, and then I went through and scratched out books that I'm like, okay, this is not going in the top 10. I know for a fact this is not going in the top 10, even though it's a 5-star. And then I couldn't duplicate an author, so if I read multiple books by an author and they had 5 stars, I could only pick one. That proved to be difficult when it came to Tia Williams and when it came to Kennedy Ryan, because I read 3 Tia Williams books this year that were all 5 stars that I loved, and I had to pick between the 3. And then I read 6 or 7 books by Kennedy Ryan this year and had to narrow that down. But in the end, I got to my top 10, and then I had to rank those from 10 to 1. And that, I had to do 3 or 4 different versions of that because I kept overthinking it and kept changing my mind. But I have a top 10 in order from, like, not least bad. I don't want to say least bad because they're not bad, but 10 to 1. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. So I have my final list, and we're going to get started with number 10. Coming in at number 10 is Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. This is like my first real actual horror book that I've ever read that wasn't like a children's horror book. And I absolutely loved it. It made me want to read more horror. So going into the new year, next year, it don't matter what time of the year it is, we're definitely going to make time for more horror books. I love them like a lot. This book follows Anna and Reed, and they move into a new apartment building. And when they move into that apartment building with their almost 1-year-old baby, they realize the baby start acting weird. The building is weird. The few people that they see in the building are weird. They don't see their neighbors much. Weird things happen, inexplicable things. And Anna is in a wheelchair, so she's left home alone in her wheelchair to care for her baby. Sometimes she can't do as much as she wants to do, and sometimes when things are just going haywire or going wrong or being weird, she like can't react as fast as she needs to. And the twist at the end was just crazy. Like, I reread the last few pages a couple of times just because I was like, wow, like this is not where I saw this going. On the back of the book, it says that the book is a mix between Salem's Lot and Rosemary's Baby, which I think is like a perfect comparison. I've never read those books, but I've seen the movies, so I can kind of get where they're going with that. But yeah, I put this in at number 10 just compared to everything else on the list. Like, it was lower for me, and then because it was a horror book, it's not something that's usually like on my radar, but it was still such a good book. Like, I really liked it. Nat Cassidy has other books that I really want to read, so I'm going to get into their other books. But yeah, number 10 is Nestlings. Coming in at number 9 is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book following Divine Rivals. So I really enjoyed Divine Rivals, but Ruthless Vows like upped the ante for me a lot. The writing was a lot better in this book. Just the character development, the story I liked a lot more. The pacing was a lot better than the first one. So in this second book, Roman has been taken by Dacker. He's been kidnapped, taken prisoner. His memory's been wiped, so he doesn't remember Iris. He doesn't remember any of their time together or anything like that. And Iris is back home. She's trying to figure out what happened to Roman. Where is he? And they inexplicably end up corresponding again through their typewriters. And eventually he starts to get his memory back, but this whole time like he's has to write propaganda for Dacker for his side of the war, promoting his side of the war, and not really knowing what's going on. And I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed a lot of the new characters, and then the old characters who got a little bit more like stuff to do in this book. I just thought it was really great. This is actually a special edition copy because my actual copy is in storage somewhere. But yeah, I highly recommend this. This was another 5-star. Everything's 5 stars, of course. But I definitely recommend this duology. I'm not going to say you got to get through Divine Rivals to get to this. It's not like bad. It's not a bad book. It's just that when you read this one, after having read, you realize like, wow, like the quality jump was crazy. But yeah, this is definitely recommended. And number 9 on my list. At number 8, I have The Hemlock Queen by Hannah Witten. This series completely caught me off guard because of the author. I've explained this before. I don't feel like going into it again. But The Hemlock Queen is the second book in the, I think it's called the Nightshade Crown series. The first book is called The Foxglove King. In this book, we pick up with Lore and Bastion after the king has died and Bastion takes up the crown, but Bastion starts to act really strange, and Lore starts to hear voices and hear whispering and stuff, and some of their other allies are having weird experiences as well. And it turns out that some of the old gods are trying to like communicate to them or through them, and Bastion is in the process of being completely overtaken by a god. And there's a really great flashback sequence in the book that explains like what actually happened with the gods, because there's one story that everybody believes happened, and then in the flashback we see the actual story, what really happened between, I think there's 6 or 7 of them. I think it's just 6, it might just be 5, I don't know, my numbers are off. But in the book we follow Lore try to like fight off what's happening with Bastion, like try to help him as best she can, try to communicate to the others what's going on, even though they kind of already have an inkling of what's going on. She's also trying to like fight off her own like possession or whatever. But I just thought this was great. The writing was really good. The story, like, it kicked it up a lot from the first one, which I always say a second book in a series should definitely give you a lot more as far as world building, as far as characters, as far as plot, moving the plot forward. It just was all just really good, very well done. Good on you, Hannah Witten. Number 9. Number 8. My numbers, I'm already off on my numbers. It's number 8. Number 8. Okay, so I had a really hard time trying to figure out where to put this book in the lineup. But I think I'm happy with where it is. And at number 7 is Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop. This is like the brand new reprinted version that just came out on December 10th. So you should go get that. I also have a special edition copy back here, and the original copy is all the way back there. So first of all, if you've been here, you know I love Natasha Bishop with all my heart. I love all of her books. I'm impatiently waiting for more books from this series. But so in Only for the Week, we follow Janelle, and she's at a destination wedding in Tulum for her sister, who is marrying her ex-boyfriend. Now, her sister's ex-boyfriend is Janelle's ex-boyfriend. He's marrying her sister, and she's the maid of honor. And her sister is like the worst. She's like a super duper bridezilla, wants everybody to do everything that she wants to do, doesn't want to hear that people don't want to do this, or they want to go off and do their own thing, because the wedding party showed up a week before the wedding, so they're there a week early. And Rome is, I think the groom's name is Arnold. He's his best man, and he's always noticed Janelle, but she was with him, so he couldn't like push up on her. But he does, and they decide that for the week while they're down there, they're gonna have a little fling, hang out, and all of that. And then it turns into something more. This has like he falls first tropes, which he definitely was falling for her already, like before this even happened. Like he already liked her. So I just thought this was like, it's so messy. Like, it's so messy, but I love it. I'm here for it. It was great. It was written very well. Like I said, I love Natasha Bishop. I love all of her stories, and this one was such a good one. One of my favorite romances of the year for sure. And this is number 7. Okay, so in my final list, I had to at the last minute flip-flop 5 and 6. So at number 6 now is Rhythms Blues by Kimberly Brown. Kimberly Brown is one of my favorite authors that I discovered this year. I think I read, let's see, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 of her books this year. And Rhythm of the Blues was hands down my favorite. I think this one came out this year. I didn't even realize like I was reading it right as it came out. And here we follow Rhythm, and she's in a relationship with a music artist who doesn't have any time for her really, and his record label is asking him to do things that he shouldn't even be entertaining, but he is. And Rhythm's like, boy, what? Like he's gotten a big head like over the past 3 years of the relationship. Like as he's gotten bigger and bigger, he's gotten more and more arrogant, and his ego is like ridiculous. So Rhythm ends up meeting Channing, who, messy again, is a music producer working with her man on an album. And they meet and they hit it off. And Channing is just like, he's perfect. He's damn near perfect. And so the book just follows Rhythm as she lets go of that relationship with the other guy. And his name is not coming to me. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. As she gets out of that relationship and then starts dealing with Channing. And it's just I mean, some of these romance books you think they like, oh, it's just romance, like blah blah blah, but these, like, the way the characters like go through stuff, the way they're written, most of the time it's just how the book is written that makes me fall in love with it, how the characters are written, because you become so attached or so drawn and so what's the word I'm looking for, protective of them because of how they're written and what they're going through. And Rhythm was one of those. It's like I felt for her so bad because of what she was going through. The light keeps, everywhere I turn the thing, the light's taking it. Let's keep it here. Oh, nope. There, that works. So yeah, Rhythm of the Blues, I highly recommend it. It's such a great read. The spice is there, of course. And this is number 6. I keep getting the numbers wrong. I think it's number 6. Yeah. For number 5, I have Blood at the Root by Ladarian Williams. Y'all know how much I love this book. I just read this last month in November and fell in love. Can't wait for Bones at the Crossroads next year. I don't know if I think I did mention that. I mentioned that last week. I'm trying to remember if I did or didn't, but I think I did. Bones at the Crossroads comes out next year at the end of July. But Blood at the Root, it was such a clever story. There were a lot of, I didn't see most things coming. Like, it was very unpredictable and just very Harry Potter coded, like, but at Howard University, if Hogwarts was Howard. Like, just so great. And it follows Malik, and he ends up at Cayman University when he is 17 years old after growing up in the foster care system. And he attends Cayman to learn how to control and use his magic properly. But he's also there to try to get clues and figure out what exactly happened to his mom when he was little, because people attacked her when he was 7, and that's how he ended up in the foster care system. And he just wants to know, like, what really happened to her, who were the people that attacked her, is she really alive or not, like, who am I, like, where basically where did I come from, because he didn't get any answers about his magical heritage because his mother was gone. So luckily he finds his grandmother finds him, and she takes care of him, tells him most things, not everything, but most things. And there are a lot of really great side characters. It's a very inclusive book. There are any group is represented in this book, and that's another reason why I loved it. And then it's so full of Black culture, like things that we would only understand, like, and it's written for us, basically. Like, it just, everything in there that was like a Black culture thing just made me smile. And I just love Ladarian Williams so much for putting our culture into this book like this. And it's set in Louisiana and Alabama and down there, and I don't know, I just loved it so much. I wanted to put it higher, but I had to really, really sit down and think, because I had this up at number 2, and I was like, no, this is not, I can't do that, like, with everything else that I have. But number 5, in the top 5, that's not bad. So, Blood at the Root came in at number 5. So, for number 4, I have Perfect Peace by Daniel Black. This is a book I read with literally Black Book Club back in, was it January, one of those. And this book, it just broke my heart. It was really sad. It was also made me like really anxious. So the book is about a woman who has all boys, her and her husband, a Black family. And this is back, I want to say it's back in like the uh, either the early 1900s or the late 1800s when it starts. And she's pregnant, she's having a baby, and she wants a girl, but it's another boy. So what she does is she raises that child as a girl, and the only person that knows other than her is the woman who helped deliver her baby. And she's like, I don't want no parts of this, I'm not dealing with you no more. And we don't really see her much until like later in the book, but she raises the boy as a girl. Like, nobody can be alone with the girl, only she can be alone with her. Like, she's not allowed to play in roughhouse with her brothers or anything like that. But then when Perfect, and the baby's name is Perfect Peace, when Perfect, I believe, is 8, the mom decides, all right, well, I can't keep doing this anymore. I'm raising you as a boy from now on. And Perfect's world is like flipped upside down. Perfect doesn't know like what's going on, can't fully comprehend because they're so young. Like, why did you do this? Why is this happening? Why does everything change? I gotta wear different clothes now. I gotta do like work out in the, like, on the farm with my brothers now. I can't do any of the prissy girly things that I was doing before, but because you're telling me I'm a boy, I have to do all this stuff now. It's just, and Perfect goes through a lot with the people in town. Like, it's just, oh. But it was such a good, I highly recommend it. Like, it's such a good book, and it's gonna hurt a little bit reading it, but it's worth it. I absolutely think it's worth it. And it came in at number 4. Number 3, I literally just finished reading this book like 2 days ago, and that's A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. I couldn't not put this book on this list, and I had a hard time choosing between this and 7 Days in June. When I did my book tag video, I was telling y'all that I was trying to pick my favorite romance book of the year, and it was between 3, and 7 Days in June was on there. But once I finished this book, I was like, I think I like this one more than I like 7 Days in June, which is surprising. But the element of magical realism in this book mixed with the romance and all the other themes flowing throughout this book, this one had to take it. And also, we still get a shout out to Eva and Shane in this book like a couple of times. So I thought that was cool, that all of these stories exist in the same universe. Like, Eva Mercy is a person in this universe. The character from The Perfect Find is in 7 Days in June in that universe. So it's just, I don't know, I definitely had to pick this. So Ricky Wilde is the youngest child in the Wilde family. She's like born 15 years after her like next sibling up. So she's like not like conforming with the family, and they run like funeral homes. And she decides that she's gonna go to New York, to Harlem, to open a flower shop after she meets this like elderly lady who comes to their funeral home to set up a funeral for her husband who's just passed. And the lady's like, you come to Harlem, I got an empty space at the bottom of my brownstone you can use as a flower shop. So she moves there to the flower shop, and one night in a garden, she sees this guy who's just staring at her. He's like awestruck, but also looks shocked and terrified at the same time. And it turns out that this guy is Ezra, that's his name. And I don't want to give away too much. I know I said there's going to be spoilers, but this book just came out, and I'm sure there are people out there who want to read it. So I'm not going to say too much, but I'm trying to think how to word what I need to say without giving away too much. We just watched this love story between them unfold, knowing that there's a possibility that it won't work out. And it's another one of those things that's like, oh my God, I'm on the edge of my seat. Like, what's going to happen? Then there are other plot devices. You're like, well, how did this happen? Like, what's the backstory here? You get the backstory, and it's like, what is going on? It was just so good. The Harlem backdrop was great. I love watching Ricky say, you know what, I have this business idea. I have this thing that I want to do for my career, and I'm going to go out and do it. I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to be successful, and I'm going to make it work. And that's what she does. And it's so inspiring, and I admired that so much about her character. Like, that's one of my favorite things, is that she wanted something, and she just went for it. She didn't hesitate. She didn't think twice. She's like, this lady has this brownstone she's offering me in Harlem. She lives in Georgia. She's like, I'm just going to leave. Like, my family don't, like, believe in me. I'm going to prove them wrong. And I'm just going to go. And she does. And she makes friends. And her business thrives. All while this love story and stuff is going on in the background. So I thought this was great. So this is definitely dethroned 7 Days in June as my favorite Tia Williams story for sure. It was beautiful. In the end, it just made me cry so much. And the epilogue, oh my God, the epilogue. Oh, the epilogue was great. Yeah, so shockingly, this got really high up on the list at number 3. But, I mean, when you love a book, you love it. So this definitely deserves to be in the top 3. For number 2, we get the top 2. For number 2, if you watched my video last week, you'll know what the top 2 is. It's just you don't know what order they're in. So for number 2, I have Destroy the Day by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the last book in the Defy the Night series, and it was the best one in the whole series. You have everybody split up. Prince Cork and Lachlan are like being held captive by this evil pirate guy, or I don't think he's a pirate. I think he's like a disgraced relative of the royal family or something like that. And then you have Tessa, who is with a guard. She got separated and they're living in this like random cottage, and then you have Harrison, who's been dethroned, and he's back in their land in Kandala, and he's trying to like rally the rebels to like help him take back the throne from the council, or the evil council, who's like basically taken over. And Harrison is having a hard time, but he has allies and stuff that are telling him like, you gotta get this together, because Cork, they think Cork is dead. They think Tessa and Cork are just gone. So Harrison's like, I gotta do this on my own. Like, I don't have my brother. And Harrison's like sick. So he doesn't always have the strength to do what he used to do. But one of their friends, a friend of Cork, I can't remember his name, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like there for Harrison, and they start a relationship, which is the cutest thing ever. And so as everybody's separated, Cork and Lachlan don't like each other, but they got to work together to find Tessa so they can get back to their land to warn Harrison, like, there's other things going on. Like, we have information that we got to give you. It just was so good. It was, usually multiple POVs can be all over the place. But these, like, they weren't. Everything weaved together so well. The ending came together really well. I just thought it was written with really well, and I love Bridget Kemmerer a lot. So, of course, one of her books was going to end up on the list for the year, and that was the only one I read, I think, this year. Yeah, that was the only one I read this year. So, yeah, that number 2 spot, I was torn between putting it at 1 or 2, but I think the number 1 book deserved it a little bit more. And at number 1 for my top 10 books of 2024 is Hookshot by Kennedy Ryan. Oh, it matches my outfit. Hookshot by Kennedy Ryan was like the best book in the Hoops series to me. When I first read Longshot, I was like, okay, I know there's 2 other books, but there's nothing that's gonna top Longshot. And I read Blockshot, and Blockshot was really good. There were some things that I couldn't get with, that was going on with the characters, but I was like, okay, this one is good too, but it's not better than Longshot to me. So let's see with Hookshot. And I immediately like was in love with this story, like as soon as it started. Keenan is in the middle of a divorce and custody issues with his ex-wife, and then you have Lotus, who's dealing with some trauma from her past that she's like repressing, trying to like fill that void by just being super promiscuous and just dealing with however many men. And she gets to a point where she realizes she wants more, but it's hard for her to figure out how to go about that, because she's been through so much and she's just so traumatized by things that have happened to her. So she has to figure out how to love and how to move past that, and how to actually be in a relationship when she's feeling all of these things that she's feeling. And luckily she ends up going to like these group therapy sessions, and the lady that runs that helps her move through her trauma, work through it as best she can. And Keenan is so patient with her. Like, he's into her, but he knows that she's going through some things that are not allowing her to be fully present in a relationship at that time. So he's patient. He waits for her to be ready, but yet they still hang out and they still go out on dates and stuff. It's so cute. And then Keenan loves Miles Davis, and as soon as I saw that line in the book, I was like, yeah, it's done. Keenan is like at the top of my list. You love Miles Davis, sir? Good. I'm glad you do. I love Miles Davis as well. We have 2 different favorite Miles Davis songs, but it's okay. But yeah, Hookshot. Everything I've read by Kennedy Ryan this year has been, nothing's fallen below 4 stars. Kennedy Ryan is just, oh, she's just so good. Between her and Tia Williams, I don't know like who I love more when it comes to these romance books. And I have some things going on next year that will allow me to possibly meet and interview Tia Williams. So I'll keep y'all posted on that, and we'll see. We will see. But yeah, Hookshot definitely took the top spot. Like I said, between this and Destroy Today, I had a hard time like figuring out which one I wanted to put at number 1. But at the end of the day, I decided that Hookshot was a book that spoke to me a little bit more. And having this book at my number 1 spot is just weird, because the flip-flop I've done from like not reading any romance, only reading like fantasy, to romance being the most I read the genre I read the most this year was romance. I didn't read a lot of fantasy. And next year I'm trying to do more horror, and it seems like fantasy has fallen into the back burner, but I gotta remedy that. Like, I'm still a fantasy girl all day long. But this book definitely, deservedly so, got the number 1 spot for book of the year. Okay, well, that is my top 10 list for my books for the year that I've read. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what your top 10 is, or what your like number 1 book is for the year, and what genre did you read the most this year. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Anyone that has subscribed or shared or liked the video or commented on the video, I well exceeded my goals for this channel for this year, so I appreciate you guys a lot. Into 2025, we just gonna keep growing, we gonna keep doing it. And yeah, I also hope you guys are having a great holiday, however you're spending it. If you're with family, if you're with friends, if you're hanging out by yourself, I hope you're having a good holiday. And I'll see you guys next year in 2025. Already 2025, that's crazy. Make sure you like the video and subscribe, and I'll see y'all. Bye.